Okay, so this is my workflow of many sub workflows for firewall updates, so Sophos firewall updates. The first, we're running this on a quarterly trigger right now. But the first workflow is just getting our Sophos clients. And then we have a workflow that ticket, and it's going to query Sophos to confirm if an update is needed or not for the particular firewall. I am also going to load an exclusion template that we have for some firewalls that we know are not going to follow this quarterly schedule or have to go through an additional process beforehand. So we're just loading that list and comparing what clients we have in Sophos to getting the list of firewalls, checking the firmware, determining if updates are needed. If there are updates needed, we are passing the action to create a change request and update the status to pass it to the change request board. At that point, it's over with until the request gets approved, and I have a trigger on the service ticket when it hits into a change approved status. It's going to parse through the notes in the ticket, get what firewalls we're updating, and create a pod confirmation for it. Basically, it'll give you three options to update: this coming Friday, this coming Saturday, or a custom, which will add a link to a form that you can choose which firewalls to update and at what time if you're not going to update all of the particular client's firewalls. And depending on which button you choose, it'll either add the link if it's a custom option, or if you schedule it for this upcoming Friday or Saturday, it will go ahead and run the action to schedule the firmware upgrade. And then it's going to add a note to the ticket. It's going to change the status to schedule. It's going to assign the technician who is the owner of the ticket. It's going to schedule them for the following day to just confirm and verify everything's good. And then it's doing this right now because I'm working on migrating all of our database items into Azure. So it's just adding it to a template for now. Actually, it's doing both. The Azure's in a different action. Moving to the next part, if it's triggered by the previous sub workflow, it schedules the upgrade and then adds the firewall information to an Azure table. If it's submitted by the form, we're putting the ticket in progress. We're scheduling the update, putting in a scheduled status, scheduling it, adding a note saying when it's scheduled, also adding that to the Azure database. And I'm doing both right now because I want to make sure I have everything situated on the Azure side. Once it's scheduled, I have this little sub workflow that is grabbing everything that we've uploaded to the Azure table. It's checking hourly to first see if an update was scheduled to run. And if it did, or if it was, it checks the firmware to make sure it actually updated. Puts the note in the ticket saying that it updated successfully, closes the ticket, and removes the database entry. And also, if it is updating within the hour, it posts a Teams adaptive card to our alerts channel to let people know that the firewall update is commencing. So that was a lot. I have I don't know if there's any questions or if I can show anything else.
Really nice. I like the error handling in particular, seeing most of these actions having a on-fail transition to be properly handled, and then also accounting for checking that the upgrade actually finished instead of just kind of firing and forgetting it is two things that I think really elevate a lot of these workflows.
Yeah,
So
I think that was probably the most.
beautiful.
I think that was probably what I was most proud of, is actually getting the confirming that it updated successfully, and the notification is pretty cool too, which I used a lot of your blog to get that working.
Very cool.
Very nice.
So, Joe, if you don't mind me chiming in for just a second here. When it comes to this workflow specifically, one of the challenges that this really solved for us, aside from just simply automating the firewall upgrade process, is we were stuck with about 76 of those tickets on the first day of every quarter. And because we have gotten away from having a proactive maintenance board where tickets all go to die, we put those straight on our service desk board. So now we're dealing with dispatchers and service desk analysts that we're trying to review these things and figure out who's the best person to get the ticket and then deal with all the client coordination. So as simple as it sounds, this has also helped improve SLA for our other service requests by taking those 70 plus tickets every quarter and getting those handled via automation instead of having humans go through it and parse through all of that.
I'd love to know how you're going to justify that statement. I don't disagree with you. I just wish there was a way to measure that.
I mean, the way we measure that is by looking at the age of tickets, because those tickets don't just sit on a service board anymore in a status where they're ticking away and aging. We're handling them in an entirely different method. So we can look at the individual tickets themselves and see immediate response times versus potentially response times taking hours or days in some cases to get those reviewed and processed.
How much time is this saving you guys, Jared? Or Joe?
Joe, how much are we billing per ticket on these?
Probably not enough. I mean, this is easily hours and hours. Probably at least 70 hours.
Wow, that's awesome.
And this is what our little notification.
Yeah, you're gonna be saving at least an hour and a half per firewall.
Yeah.
And you'd have to schedule anybody to work after hours, and so you're saving on overtime too.
Yeah, no one wants to stay up and do those. It was taking a lot of time initially just to manually go through and see which of the client's firewalls actually needed to be updated, and then getting the ticket created. And we can do that in like 10 minutes now, where it was taking a lot of manual time and labor.